Hello! After 2 years, Dwell Episode 2 is finally out. I mean, it's been a long wait, but really exciting. Episode 2 is called The Sunken City, and it's 9 maps of sublime Quake action. And there's also, as a bonus, Episode 1's been completely overhauled, and there's 3 bonus maps as well in the start if you complete the episodes. If you haven't played Dwell yet, I'd strongly suggest you don't watch this. You just go and download a copy on Slips here right now, load it up in your Iron Whale or your VK Quake, and give it a go. The map I'm about to showcase in particular here is a really cool adventure map, and it's best experienced totally blind. But, you know, either way, today I'm going to be playing the penultimate map in Episode 2, Abyss of the Troglodytes by Mazu, one of my favourite mappers, well known for these extremely large maps, overflowing with loads of secrets, harsh encounter design, lots of tricks that involve Quake's movement system in a way that no other mapper does as well. Great stuff, really great stuff. This is a big one, possibly the biggest one I've played from Mazu so far, maybe, just about. 1,175 monsters on Nightmare difficulty, 60 secrets. First blind playthrough where I was trying desperately not to die, you can watch that on Twitch, I'll put that in the description. It took me 3 hours, thereabouts. This is the 1.1 release, so I'm playing this with 2.1 release, I should say. I'm playing this with the new co-op entities and single player impulse command. So I'm playing Nightmare difficulty, which is Copper's Nightmare 50 HP, plus all of the co-op monsters and resources are in there as well. I'm not entirely happy with this demo. It's a bit shit, it's a bit slow, the map was very long and it took me a while to grind through and learn things. But it's a nice casual playthrough, and I try to showcase things and not skip too much to show off how it all works really, so I can just blather on at you. I did record this on regular Nightmare first, and then the patch came out, which also buffs one of the new enemies, so I played it again on 2.1 with the co-op switch. Determined play, good speed run. You could easily knock probably 10 minutes off the time here, probably a lot more, but whatever. Enjoy. Right, so here we are, the wonderful Abyss. First difference here on the co-op mode, instead of the regular Nightmare mode, there's 2 Hell Knights to deal with. 2 Death Knights, I should say, and 2 Knights. But there's a lot more ammo as well. In general, there's more ammo. It also respawns down here, but not really a consideration I have to think about as much. First secret, ring secret, and another secret that's at the start of almost every Mazu map I can think of is a ramp jump secret. I'm not sure why that's the case. We just passed it. If you go there without hitting these 2 switches inside this pillar, you can only get yourself a double-barreled shotgun. But if you do this, it actually takes you to the place that's marked as being a secret, which is the glorious wind tunnels. 2 kamikazes here, they're just taken straight from Serious Sam. They do a lot of damage to kamikazes, they're usually placed in very trolly situations, let's say, so watch out for them. And this area here, I would call it the runway. I come here first for a specific reason. I do use this later on, but the first time I come here is just to get a quad and start the map off, basically. Those are like wind tunnels, basically, very small wind tunnels I jump through, and this is the runway because it uses it to launch you off certain ramps, which takes you to secrets later in the map. However, nothing is free. Taking this quad does spawn in some new big boy enemies, a Shambler and a couple of brutes, and those kamikazes that I definitely forget about entirely, almost run into. This map works on the basic hub and spoke principle, so you have this big central hub, like atrium room here, deep underground, and you have 3 different paths. Each key path is required to open the big silver key door at the end, and each of them has a different sort of specialisation. So one of them is kind of combat focused more than anything, with like a combat gauntlet at the end. One of them is based on swimming and underwater combat, which is very cool, and the other is about sort of platforming and puzzles. The order in which I do them is probably not very efficient in terms of like if you want to be a speedrunning cool guy. I just did it purely because Mazu jokingly said you probably want to do this one first with the combat encounter, and honestly it's just the one where I get the weapons really fast and easy, and it's the first one I picked basically at random. So what we're doing here, we're just cleaning this area up. no big deal. Not the most exciting thing in the world. You'll notice there's pools of water. In those pools of water, there is a water temple, one could call it, which includes a rudimentary shop area, somewhat like Mazu's map. What was it called now? Chamber of Forbidden Runes. There we go, lost it from my mind. In Smay 2. You find orb switches, you exchange that for getting access to certain resources. Not quite as sophisticated as a Smay version, but obviously it's down in a big pool of water and a very hostile large map like this. It's something that I didn't want to go to first off. So, this is the combat route. Get the grenade launcher straight away. Just want to say I really love the moody lighting in this level. I really love the vines. I love how wet and ambient it is. I love the music. It's all fantastic. So we have a bunch of nested secrets here. This is the first one, going underneath this sort of like sewer thing into a cave, and this takes us to a nice area up here. Is one of the potential paths, and there's 2 secrets of this, I believe. Bit of combat as well, no big deal. Secret here, there's a dark cubby hole with a mega health. You can kind of circle jump on the ground to get the speed up and then just slide up those ramps. You can also do it with this one here, but I kind of lose my nerve and don't, so I just gently climb up like a, you know, in a very slow manner. Which is, so you can do this one, hold forward. Easier if you do a corner. But monkeying your way around here gives you a yellow armor, which honestly I'm surprised. I've already taken off over 100 armor just by my poor positional play. So grabbing that, and then there's another jump here which you can take, which is the cubes. Going across these cubes. In Mazu's maps in general, if you think maybe could I get up there and climb on it, the answer is yes, you are definitely intended to. These jumps are kind of awkward because you can wedge yourself underneath, as I've just done there, and take a bit of damage, and the cubes float in and out of sync. You've also got to kind of circle jump a bit around that corner with a bit of air control, because going in a straight line you might accidentally get caught. Worth coming up here though, very good early item, real workhorse item here, which I'm not looking at. It's the rotary shotgun, an addition to Dwell. A true side grade of a weapon. I'll talk a bit more about why the rotary shotgun is cool later, I think, but it's a very cool gun. Though it's not a straight upgrade like I've seen a few people suggest it is. It's got strengths and weaknesses. One more secret path off here. It's another one of these wind tunnel sort of boost pad things. And this is the use for them. You can use it to do that cool little ramp jump there. As long as you keep your momentum, keep jumping, do a bit of a waggle along, you can ramp jump up to get this pent. Is the pent the best thing to pick up here? Probably not. But I wanted to unlock it anyway. It also lets me just kind of face tank this room here, which is just a very simple trap. The floor, though, it's worth mentioning with the little red things on it, that's a damaging floor, which, if you play a lot of Quake, your Quake sensors will be tingling whenever you see any sort of floor with red runes on, or any sort of hazardous-looking markings. Just shoots nails at you. Rotary shotgun there, you can see it's 4 shots in rapid succession. It does, I think it's something like 15% more per shot than the regular shotgun does, or something like that. And the DPS is something like 20% higher than the SSG, like if all the pellets hit. But its spread is it's quite vertically narrow, but it's horizontally quite wide. And obviously, you've got to expose yourself a lot to use it, so I don't think it's the best choice here. This is a fun little trap if you're not expecting it coming. The back spawning Vor's a great idea, just to keep you pushing forward. Absolutely do not want to be backing off here. And these ogres are real marksmen. Like, if you just kind of try and dance around here, they're probably going to hit you in the angle they're set apart, which is nice. So let's see what happens here. Ah yes, another secret here. This one I didn't find first playthrough at all. It's moving that etching, shooting the switch up in the ceiling. This gives you the haste, very cool power-up. On its own, it's pretty strong. I think it's only got 20 seconds on it, but 60% increased fire rate, with the rotary shotgun in particular, is rather beastly, though with the nail gun and the LG, it's also beastly. It just doesn't quite have that same satisfying feedback. Its true potential, though, is how it synergizes with the new Berserk power-up and the quad, one of which combinations you will see, which is it's something to behold. Really fun. And another secret within a secret here, illusory wall. There's a plank in front of all those ammo boxes. Don't walk too far forward, because you will fall through the hole. Which I did on a couple of demo attempts, which got to this point. And of course nothing is free. It sets up a little trap for you at the bottom, though if you peek around the corner and come back through, the Vor will always shoot, and the Shambler will always get to a position where the Vor projectile hits him. So the Shambler is being sort of pulled from target to target, so you can just do what I did there and shoot him. It's very fun. And first get quad here. Not the best start to the quad, though it does let me kill the brutes. The brute is basically the big daddy of ogres. Shoots a triple spread of grenades and has a lot of health and a meaty melee attack. Big boots, big punch. Though, funnily enough, you can abuse the fuck out of the brute by like Shambler dancing with him effectively, where he'll try and do one punch and then you can move away, then he'll try and kick you, and just do this back and forth. Using the quad though just to clear out this area as much as possible. This is going to be sort of our base of operations for the next 10 minutes as we do various secret paths and whatever else. Our objective is to get the gold key. Pretty good use of the quad though, this wasn't too bad. This switch opens the chambers, which is set with some side doors that have resources. This isn't strictly speaking necessary, I just like to do it. I believe it's not necessary. And you can hear there's a lovely spawn in the water there, happily burbling away, we'll just leave them be. On co-op there's 2 Shamblers here, usually on Nightmare there's just 1. And usually they catch up to you because you're going to push away from this area after you've broken one of these doors and do something else. But I let them just filter toward me, which is fine, Another secret here. The teleporters in this area are interesting. There's one here and there's one linked at the other side of the room. It's just basically one way to get from one part of the room to the other. Potentially there's going to be increased enemy density here at some point. Maybe the expectation things will get chaotic enough that you'd need to escape, and maybe you'd be being chased by Vor projectiles, you'd need to run like hell and go to the teleporter, but I never found the need for it. I never really went through it on the first look. And a little secret there behind the sort of trellis. And another secret here, another big one, rocket launcher very early on. Absolutely magic. And orb switch. As I said before, water temple at the beginning, there's like a well, you go down it. There are gates. The more orb switches you have, the more you can do, which is rather nice. They're needed for 100% completion, that's why I do them. And here's a nice little secret jump over to the rafters up here. You can just also rocket jump up to these if you like. On this final queue that I'm about to jump off though, you do need to make sure that you wait for it to get to its lowest point, or you'll hit your head on the ceiling jumping across to this one. But it does give you a mega and some extra ammo. It's worth mentioning Nightmare Plus, a side effect of having co-op stuff is it means there's more ammo, because obviously there needs to be more boxes of ammo for co-op players. In practice, I have run this 100% in both Nightmare and Nightmare with co-op. It just means that you have a little bit more ammo, but the routing that I do for this anyway means you're pretty much never going to run out of ammo anyway for anything. You never really stress too hard if you find secrets. The increased monster density, I think, more than makes up for the challenge in terms of, like, you know, you have to sort of deal with it. Secret within a secret here. This one I left till this point for a specific reason, which is I get a pence, and this lets me press 3 buttons in the water to unlock the gold key. Grab the haste as well, why not? I probably should have waited with the haste. This is a poor bit of choice picking here. I should have come back, now pick the haste up, now press these last 2 switches. And coming up here, we get a lovely demonstration of the brute boots, which says boop on the bottom. Very cool models, I've got to say. The modelling and texturing is so high quality and well, it's so professional. Really, truly, truly professional. But in general, this didn't go too well. Usually I can get in a situation where I've got some of the shamblers lined up. Usually they're lined up on that bridge that you can see there. And if that's the case, I just use the LG, and the LG penetrates a little bit and arcs about. And it lets me do a bit better damage. Honestly, this didn't go too well, this whole like fight here. But it is what it is. Apologise, I'm a little bit into a cough, so if I cough, I'll try and edit out any real throat clearing sessions. So, at this point, what I should have done is grab that gold key. This is a major mistake, which probably cost a little bit of time, but more importantly, it cost me a little bit of armour, which I wanted to preserve on the off chance something went horribly wrong later on. I should really be going for the key now. Just get that gold key. It spawns one more wave of things, but not really a big deal. Instead, I'm deciding to go to the secret. This is one of the chambers I opened. I saved the ring for this secret very deliberately, because this secret is incredibly mean. There's a timed door. You think, ooh, timed door, there's got to be something good behind this. You make the trek to the timed door, you go in. Okay. There's a spawn around the corner there, always catches you off guard. There's a scuba suit. And if you push forward, there's an LG here. But if you go in the water, it's a one-way drop, you can see. It's pitch black, it's full of goddamn spawns. It is heinous. My first time coming here when I was trying to survive on a stream, I was so scared. I was so scared. The geometry itself is complex in a way insofar that it's really hard to orient yourself because everything's sort of rubble and decay and ruin, and it's a very small area and it's a very simple area, but the lighting combined with just the amount of stuff, the greebly, stuffy, it makes it really intimidating to try and move about and push back. The scuba suit as well, it's worth mentioning. I've never seen this before. It might be a dwell thing, it might be a copper thing that I've just not seen utilised anywhere else properly. Gives you big 30% movement speed boost underwater, and also acts as a suit. Very good. But the main reason to quit the water is this. That's right, another orb switch and a red. But I made a mistake here. I should have cleaned out 2 spawns that I memorised the locations of. And here they are, one up there and one down there. So now I have a problem. Oh, and there's a bully spawn when you got at the top as well, just to panic you. It's a very cruel area, this, when you're under time pressure. If you don't find that scuba suit, you'll peek out, go get some health, get some air, slowly peek out again, look for somewhere else to go, pray there's not a waiting spawn, like I'm doing here. I have no idea where it could have gone. But there it is, take 20 damage. It's fine. It's just a little embarrassing because it's not elegant. The demos that you end up recording or settling on are never the ones that you think, ooh, those look nice. So, I've made my mistake. I didn't pick the key up. I now have to go pick the key up. Not really too happy with myself, but is what it is. All things considered though, this is a very easy ambush. Nothing really pushes you, and it feels like something should have pushed me in this situation. Something should have been, fiends or something should have been launched themselves across that bridge. I've got my back to a wall, make me sweat, but instead it's just a big kind of brute, Big Daddy Ogre, bunch of very slow moving, what are they called? Wizards. Not ideal, but it's fine, it's alright. Because the true spice is coming up. Mazu jokingly said to me about this next section, not jokingly, it was Mazu accurately predicted you will die to this most likely. And I ended up dying to this in my first playthrough of this. I died twice. Once to a crusher right at the end of the map where I walked into a cube that squished me for some reason. And the other was this fight here. So, when we go behind the gold key door, all will be revealed, so look forward to that. Right now I'm just scrounging up ammo for some godforsaken reason. I don't really need to, but collector brain's kicking in. It's worth mentioning as well, look how smooth that super nail gun barrel rotation is as well. That's a dwell feature. Look how smooth the rotary shotgun barrels. Ooh, it's lovely. Cool animation work. So, bridge here. The safest thing to do against the brute is just to get up in its face, as I said, because you can melee bait them. So just in future, I don't do it in this demo, but now I know that's what I would do. Nothing happens. Ah! The bridge drops. Now this is really cool. This is a proper Doom style progressive trap which just keeps pushing you and pushing you and pushing you. As you can see, constantly new complications, but it's all happening slightly faster than I can react to it, and I know what's going on. So the tempo is being dictated by the map. Additional trap elements. A huge amount of fours. Can't back off because I'm going to get hit by the nail traps. Can't push forward because I'm scared that more things are going to spawn in. You've got to kind of just deal with them. Where you're standing. Use that haste as well as you can. And here's the part that killed me. This here. Have a nail gun out. Have an LG out, because if you have your nail gun or shotgun out and try and hit those guys, they do have a little bit of health. It's probably not going to end up well. You just need to be able to melt them instantly. And then it gets even worse. Nails trap here, and the grenades coming out the top to punish you for jumping on top like I did, which is fantastic. You've got to stay moving at the pace that's set by the trap. I fuck it up horribly there. And it gets worse and worse. This is horrifying. It's really easy when you know exactly what's happening to kind of do it without taking damage. But it's so chaotic, you know, ogre grenades by definition are chaotic. It's loud. It's, you know, you don't know when kamikaze is going to drop and you have no idea what's happening. It's difficult just to adjust. And then afterwards you have this, which is the ceiling collapsing on you, which again I think it's fantastic. I really like this. If you look up, this is safe, but it certainly puts you on edge. And then the Staircase of the Ancients, which is, of course... That's right, if you guessed Breakout, you were correct. It's exactly like the hit game Breakout. Oh, Bubble Bobble, I should have said, my apologies. Puyo Puyo. Anyway. Fakes you out, but this is the safe place to stand. Then you get to climb your way up. Very exciting. But it's not over yet, obviously. Another trap here. This one's purely designed to fluster you and make you fall down and go into the lava, which you can do. So don't do that. And you can take your time, of course, because this little platform that comes out is dog slow. It's so slow. Which ends your next area. So at this point, you probably think to yourself, it's not so bad. Or maybe you're thinking, God, that was horrendous, how could it possibly get worse? What horrendous tricks could be going up next? And I remember saying, this is where the kamikazes and spawns come in, isn't it? And the answer to that is, of course this is where the kamikazes and spawns come into. It just spawns in this instance. This brute at the top here, he's only in co-op, I believe. It's usually, I think, just an ogre. But those spawns down there, you don't want to be down there dealing with them. The lift lowering as well, this guy tends to wake up and come for you. It's a rough scene. It's a rough scene. And there's another secret here, really hard to see in the dark. Hole in the planks. And I believe this is secret number 18, if you've been keeping count up to this point. And what a lovely secret it is too. Cells, rockets, and mega. One more spawn down there. And we get the key. We've somehow made our way back to the main area. So, now we have to do one thing. We have to backtrack to the Wall of Death, let's call it. And behind it, there is a teleporter and a third orb switch. We need 4 orb switches before the second major route, because it gives us the trident weapon. What's it called? It's called the crystal trident or something? No, the crystal lance. Yeah, the crystal lance. That's what it's called. So we're going to go now to our water temple shop, whatever you want to call it, area. It's not really the shop, because in SMAID 2M5 you get the choice of like, what do I want to unlock with my precious resources? And everything major is given to you in this map through the bountiful secrets. There's a lot of redundancy. But there's unlocks down there, basically. There's stuff to pick up. There's more health, there's more ammo if you need it. There's intrigue. Also, there's a room down here as well, which tells you where the orb switches all are. There's like a chamber, which is honestly in like probably the most awkward place to go at the bottom. It's not the most signposted thing in the world. Like, you can miss this quite easily. And it just says, you know, it gives you little cryptic hints as to where each switch is. So if you're a switch hunter and you really like hunting switches, why are you watching this? Why aren't you playing this first? But it's a good room to go to get some little hints. And you can see here these little gates that have come down with the switch texture on. Those all open, obviously, with different numbers of orb switches found. There's also some in that runaway area that I talked about right at the start of the map, which are similar. So, orb switch down here, that gives us 4. The underwater gate has now opened. The underwater gate in question is the one just up here, which gives us the crystal lance, or the trident, or the railgun. 270 damage, it penetrates 6 cells, I believe, to shoot. So it is much more efficient than the LG, and much more dangerous than the LG, and it does like 180. Really, really, really overpowered in the best way. But not really, because you will end up eating a lot of ammo if you're not careful. And obviously aiming is, with rail, is something we all struggle with, unless we're extremely gifted. Which obviously doesn't include me. So, collected the scuba suit in that secret before, the water, like, wind tunnel-y secret up to Pence. I did that purely because there's multiple ways to get the scuba tank to get to this area and not drown in it, but honestly I found that was the best one to go for, because I want to get this out of the way now. I don't want to come back to this area often. You need a few more orbs to actually unlock some more gates that have the suits behind. A lot of secrets have these, so there's always opportunities basically to get a scuba tank if you need one. Peppered all around this area. I got crushed in that place with the cubes, that's why I died as well, so watch out for that. Some real nasty bully spawns and bully kamikazes. And a lovely little kill box for all of these guys to rain hell down on from you. But you've got the wonderful haste. Look how fast the rotary shotgun is with it. You can see how wide the spread is there, pellets and so on. You've got to be true with your aim, and it's hard because you've got to keep tracking as you're shooting as well. And obviously, to use the rotary shotgun most effectively, you need to be putting yourself in harm's way. Basically, a shambler could easily start attacking you, or a brute could start attacking you, or a Vor could decide to stop flinching and then attack you midway through that little burst of ammo. So you gotta pick your moments. It is a truly situational weapon, I feel. Now this is embarrassing. I'm going to apologise for this. This is probably about 2 minutes of demo time, which this mistake and another one probably took me off, 75 minutes down to 78 and a half or whatever it was. A proper route, of course, would probably take you down much lower, but this is something that I despise about this and made me consider re-recording. But the thing is, I played this map twice in a row. Once for this demo and once immediately before. Completed it both times. The only issue is I forgot to record it the first time, so I couldn't commentate over it or prove I'd done it to anybody. So but in both instances, I made this mistake here where I fucked this series of jumps up. All this is a very simple timed door. All you've got to do is just time your jump like I do there, to jump out and go across the gap and climb my way up. But I was just on tilt mode here. Why didn't I just circle jump across and go in there, Well, the reason is because I was flustered as hell. And then I got even more flustered. Which goes to show, the more you play, the longer you play for without taking breaks, the worse your play gets, so take lots of breaks. It's also why longer demos are kind of difficult, so people who do D2Ls and stuff like that, you've got to take your hat off to them, because psychologically, playing something for 4 hours or whatever ain't easy. But in the end, there we go, we get what we wanted. Glorious, and we managed to fail a very basic jump. So, at this point, my finger was hovering over my quit bind, which is, I think, just Alt F4 in this game. But I thought, no, it's F10. I think I've got F10 set up as well. But I thought, no. Let's just keep going. Because people like to see mistakes. And then we get wonderful, wonderful Berserk, which, look at the damage it does, 10 times melee damage. It also does 50% reduction, like when you've got it out, damage reduction, so you can get up in people's faces. This was added in the Dwell 2.1 patch. It was not here in the original release, and in my first demo on just regular Nightmare skill, you couldn't do this. But look at it go. So I think the axe in copper, which Dwell is based on, I think it does 24 or maybe 25 damage as opposed to 20 in vanilla Quake. 10 times damage multiplayer, that's, you know, that's 240, 250 damage. That is one-shot zone for the Ogre. It is two-shot zone for the Fiend. It's one-shot zone for the Death Knight. It's good. It's real good. 2 for the War, 3 for the Shambler. And it's just such a satisfying weapon to use. And when you combine it with the haste as I did there, ooh, God, spicy. If you swing that thing and you time it right, you can interrupt the Fiend before it hits you, because your reach is slightly longer than theirs. Knock them away from their leap. So fun, so fun. Anyway, moving on to section 2. This is going to be the watery part. This is the watery key path. Secret here from the Discord wall takes you outside. And there's another secret that takes you back inside, which I think is quite cute. Again, horrible kamikaze directly behind the secret. Have the right gun out, or you'll take damage. And kamikazes can do a lot of damage. 50 HP with no armour, you're dead. And the radius is slightly larger than you'd think too. This big room here, this big cave is cool. The intent is very obvious. Use the ring. The Ring of Shadows does not make you invisible in the same way that it does in vanilla Quake. It just means that people whiff and miss you a lot. But I also think maybe it might reduce the sort of range to which people aggro you, maybe, when you're shooting? I'm not really sure. But the point is, you're supposed to use the ring to get up here, shoot those, that drops a giant spike, which I didn't look at, and opens up the path to the next area. Unfortunately, one of the Shamblers did wake up, because there's about, I think, 5 Shamblers underneath it. So he has to be disposed of, which we're trying to do now. Taking advantage of that wonderful, inaccurate stuff with the ring, which honestly makes Fiends much scarier, because on reaction, you do most dodging from things like that on reaction before they really even move, and suddenly they're going at a 45-degree angle where you're dodging, where you're strafing. Not the best situation to be in, is it? But it's fine. I really love this cave. This cave looks so good. Dwell is a very pretty episode, and there's some really complex, like, powerful architecture from some of the absolute titans of the Quake community. You know, Baal, you know, phenomenal stuff, and Marquis' map with Baal is just oh, it's so nice. Marquis sort of architected the architecture and sort of the grey boxing, and Baal detailed it, you know, lovely. But this map, it may not be the most sophisticated. It may have a kind of quite, it has like a rough and ready sort of charm to it, where, you know, gameplay trumps aesthetics, but I still think aesthetics-wise, the lighting, the choices for, like, geometry, even if the geometry is quite simple in the way it works so well. And it all sells us out of this sort of atmosphere so nicely. My apologies. Coughing there. So, secret here, secret. This one using the switch. Got to show off the penetration on the crystal lancer, whatever it's called. Just railing all these suckers. Beautiful. And only 24 rails, 24 lightning gun ammo to do it. We're still flying. That's everything up here. So that's just this entire area cleared out. Maybe I think that little ramp jump I did before, where I had to do a circle jump to get up to the rockets where the 2 ogres was. Maybe that should have been a secret as well, but it's fine, because it was tricky to get to. It's a difficult jump. So this section here, all underwater, this is intimidating. Worth noting, underwater, Vors have slower turns, projectiles. The projectiles are nerfed, basically, in Dwell. So it is possible, with the scuba tank in particular, to just dodge these projectiles and stay active and stay moving about, like I am now. Immediately rocket yourself in the face like a complete moron. Twice, I thought I had a rotary shotgun out there, With the water orb effects from the source port on and the filter over the screen, rotary shotgun looks a lot like the rocket launcher to me. It's hard to tell things apart, but hey, it's fine. In Nightmare Co-op as well, I'm going to write down when I did that. In Nightmare Co-op as well, it's worth mentioning that there's more Vors in this room, which means you have to be a bit more passive. It's got these Vors on the middle bars when you first go in. Otherwise, it's just the 4 in each corner. And the 4 in each corner means that relatively straightforward to deal with. You can go into the room just all guns blazing. When there's 2 in the middle, it means that getting hit in the back by a projectile more likely. This secret here, the 3 switches, it took full advantage of the fact we're submerged in the water. You put switches in places normally wouldn't fly, like at the top of one of those areas there. And the descent continues. This is another section I feel could have been done a lot faster. I made some pretty egregious mistakes here, but you know, that's fine. You can see as well the scuba gear here respawns really fast, which is great. And if you get cold feet, a shambler waits for you. I honestly think that you could make an entire map underwater like this, 100% with this scuba gear stuff. It's really, really fun to fight under the water. And have that, not 6 degrees of freedom like Descent, but a little bit more freedom to dodge about. Pushing down hard and taking out these Vors would be a good idea, but the worry is the fish descend from above that I had to deal with there, and they can block your movement so easily, and one false thing like that would be death. So I don't really want to risk taking, 6 4 projectiles to the face. You can see here as well my terrible aim skill, my rail, not so good. It's not like the good old days of playing Insta and being 17 and hopped up on sugar. But we're taking our time to clearing all this out. I find this underwater pillbox quite amusing with the Death Knights in. And then there's another trap there that spawns loads of ogres, and they're designed to push you down into a worse combat situation, but I'm a coward. I go back upstairs. I would rather stay up here, systematically kill them all and go down at my own pace. Even if it is more kind of boring to watch, right? Never the showman. Never the showman. So, going downstairs, here we go. Eventually. Eventually. Here we go. Right, so, good times ahead. There's 2 Vors on either side, and there's a couple of Vors and a Shambler through that archway up ahead. Honestly, the best thing to do in this situation would be to take advantage of the penetration of our Trident, our Crystal Lance, our Railgun, whatever the hell it's called, I can never remember. But I don't do that for some obscure reason. But I do use it here at least, so it's not all doom and gloom. And God, it's a satisfying weapon to use. So things haven't gone too well up to this point in terms of taking silly damage and being inefficient with ammo. But, ammo's not a big concern, really. The only thing I was really concerned about here was keeping enough rockets to do what I wanted to do. Which I've done. So, secrets. This secret here is multi-level, of course. The secret to get the red. Finding the initial archway to go into and then finding the ceiling hatches in the dark and the water. Relatively tricky. But it's worth doing, because you get an LG if you haven't got one already, and you get your 7 orbs. This is, I believe, the path I took the very first time I played. So I did this, without the weapons and the advantages of going down the other paths. And it works pretty well, this one. I think all of the different sort of routes, the 3 key routes, are viable from a shotgun start with pretty much the same amounts of resistance. The only one I'd recommend not doing is probably the platforming one, purely because it's kind of stodgy, I guess. But a cool combat fight here, nice symmetrical arena, really straightforward. We've got a brute providing Overwatch. We got 2 lovely Vors, we got all the knights down below, and we got the ogres. And the ogres are on 2 levels there, you can see, the inner and the outer corners. And those grenades can really, really fuck you about if you're not careful. They are skilled marksmen. And the fiends are really good here, because the fiends are chaotic. They will try and infight with everything. But obviously with this much chaos, things are exploding all over the place. It means that one minute they might be running one direction, one minute they might turn around and leap at you. You never know what's going to happen. It just frustrates that impulse to circle strafe a little bit and makes you look ahead a little bit more and think, where am I going to go? What am I going to prioritise? And the priority here really should be eliminating all these bloody ogres. Because when the ogres are dead and everything's sort of in the middle, that's fine. A good example there of how, look how good those ogres are. Beautiful shots. Get them on the national team. I'll have an ogre with me on the 2v2 team. We'll play some Quake World. This area is very neat. It's very neat and interesting. And you may have figured out why if you just look around here with that gesture. And you may have noticed there's a mirror line almost and some almost symmetry, but not. Wonder what that could be about. Now, there are some switches here, which you can see a very vague red glow, which tips you off. And if you get the grenade into the extremely tiny hole, which took me some time, and get all 3, eventually, this is embarrassing. Where are the other buttons? Well, think about that one, ponder that one while you look at the sort of layout of the room. Also, ponder as well potential platforming routes. Think about if you were going to platform, where would you go? And something might surprise you. This is a really cool opportunity to get some sick rail shots in. Get everybody lined up. I think there's one extra shambler on co-op mode, just to add a bit of spice. Yeah, but having grenades is a definite must for this section. Just having some rocket ammo just to be able to hit those switches. My first playthrough, because I was going a bit out, the glut from the previous zone. And it's a bit touch and go. I think I only had like 10 shots to find the secrets. Anyway, you go through here. Oh, that's weird. Looks like I'm on the ceiling. Apologies to Leo Sayer. I'm not gonna start doing dancing on the ceiling things. Right, so yeah, looks like you're on the ceiling now. Weird. Wonder what that means for the. Wonder what that means for those secret switches. Guess we'll never know. Or it's more apt to say we're not on the ceiling. We're in a dimension that seems to mirror the other one, though. Everything's upside down. In the mirror universe. Upside down mirror universe. Anyway. This is a platforming section here which is awkward. You've got to walk up that slope, but there's also a bit of trim that blocks you. It's 64 units high, so when you jump out, you need to jump out at the moment so you don't bump your head and fall down. Easier said than done. Ramp jump along, you get a pentagon protection. That's a good item. That's a good item, because this is a slightly trickier fight. So this fight here is all about just efficiently getting all of these big boys as quickly as possible, which I don't do a very good job of here, to be honest with you. I'm a bit disappointed in myself. Trying to get a rail shot here. It's just not happening. But it progressively gets worse. You get the brutes up top. The brutes are an absolute priority. Shred these guys. Absolutely shred them. The brutes are a pain in the ass if you don't have rockets to shoot, basically. Chipping them down with shotgun is boring. But the key is just to kill as much as possible. And we got there. This is a really nice sort of... It's tricky, it's intense, it's an intense fight, this one. Without the pen, it is scary, because the amount of shamblers means you've got to utilise the bars that you see here to dodge the lightning, and there's so many angles where things are raining down on you. It's an awkward situation. Yeah, and as you can see, mirror universe. So what was on the lower platforms up on the bottom, they're now on the top of these ones. So you can shoot the buttons with a shotgun. And if you do that, which I do now, it opens up a little hatch behind, which we need to go to for a secret. But not yet. Not yet. Instead, we're going to go back to the other place and see, has it changed something in here? And it has. This is really fucking cool, by the way. This is like a really cool idea. Sort of parallel universe kind of stuff here. It's been done a few times in maps, but it's a good utilisation here. So climb up here, do this incredibly naff jump out of there, which I'm so surprised I managed to do twice in a row without fucking up. Almost completely bomb that jump, which is embarrassing because it's just a ramp jump, which I do every day non-stop. Almost bomb this one, but you can jump across here, ramp jump up here, and yeah, it's the equivalent of the hatch that opened in the other place is up here on the ceiling. Lava in the roof. Nice look. Nasty troll kamikaze, you can see how evil they are. 500 coffin nails. Now, as Mazu did say to me when I was streaming, he said, so now if you ever need nails, you can just do that platforming, because it took me about 10 minutes to get there the first time, and you've got a full replenished stock of nails. To which I said, thank you very much. I agree. Now, why did we go back there first, however? Well, one, there was some secrets we needed to collect, backtracking is annoying, but the other one is this. Opening up that coffin nail secret has implications in here as well. So, what we're going to do is grab ourselves an unholy ward, our pentagram protection, go up here, and it's open here as well, upside down. Otherwise it's just platforming to get some very dangerous looking ammo. And using the paint correctly, you find a red, like a consolation prize floating in the lava, which is good. Real good. Another swimming section here. Here we go. This swimming section is our final sort of push before we get to our key. This swimming section, though, does not have a scuba kit. It does not have a wetsuit. It is all about managing air pockets, unless you find the secrets, which I do, which does diminish it somewhat. But this is scary as fuck, Blind. It really is. Because you don't know where the air pockets are going to be. I probably would have preferred it with a few of them if there was something with the lighting which indicated there's a pocket of air and above. Maybe some light coming down from a light fixture or something. But it's okay. And a really evil brute placement here. You'll notice that, you know, without our scuba suit as well, we're in the water. We're not fast. We're really not fast. And you start drowning way faster than you think you're gonna when you're actually fighting things. Like here, for example. And it's just busy. It's a very busy area. But thankfully, we don't have to worry too much. I do decide to backtrack here, and I don't know why. I think it's because I'm an idiot. What do we find? 25 nails. Was that really worth it? Yes, yes it was. It's always worth it. So pushing down deeper and deeper. Where's the next pocket of air? Well, thankfully we don't care because we have our secret scuba gear. But otherwise there's one just there at the bottom. There I am, going into it now. And one there, where the 4 is. I've always thought, by the way, it's quite mean that the Shambler gets to shoot lightning underwater and I don't. If I do it, I discharge and instantly die and blow up everything around me. I think it would be a funny gimmick if the Shambler also did the same. If you baited him to getting into water, he'd blow himself up. But maybe make like a map which is all based around the trap on that notion. So you don't want to alert the Shambler, you want to be stealthy in the water and he's constantly patrolling around looking. I think that'd be quite cute. Like avoiding a shark. And we got to our key, and our 8th orb switch. For those keeping count, that's number 8 of 12. So we're making good progress. We're what, 46 minutes in? That's pretty good. We're 2/3 of the way there. Well, this next section unfortunately takes me quite a while. It's just the longest of the one. That's all. My current understanding. She's okay. But it is a bit dull, so I warn you, and it'll get dull for a few minutes, but it'll pick up again, I really promise you. But before we do that, we're going back down this runway, and as you can see, one of our little side gates has opened, which is a secret. Over here, there it is. It has an enemy in. These are only here in co-op. I don't know why that's the case. Otherwise, they're totally free. But there you go, free stuff. And we're going to use this wind tunnel boosty thingy-majiggy. And we're going to strafe jump around here, and we're going to jump off this ramp. And if you jump off the ramp at the correct angle, at the right speed, at the right timing, you can, without a rocket jump, get on that platform. Though I can't do that reliably, so I just rocket jump and guarantee I'll get on there. You can also use that same platform to rocket jump and turn to the cell secret, which is what you can see above the silver door there, just at the corner of your eye. What I should have done here against this brute is got right up in his face and abused his melee to kill him. Didn't do so. Quad damage. I should have kept spamming rockets in there. I don't know why I didn't. I kind of freaked out. Thankfully, you can just do this. So what does our quad do? Why are we up here? What's so important? Well, there's a secret door on that corner, spawn around that corner, because of course there is. But you get this room here, another secret area. There's also a switch to bump in there, which opens a hidden door. This is quite esoteric, this one. It's probably the hardest of the orbs to get to. Go all the way around here. Yet another orb found. Fantastic. What I'm doing here is I'm just checking that nothing's dropped in a strange place or gone down a hole. When you've got 1,250 monsters to kill, like I do here, it's genuinely alarming, the thought that maybe you've missed one enemy, or because they've path found themselves into a stupid place. But thankfully it did not occur for me, and my sort of very slow, methodical playstyle worked well. So, that ramp I just jumped up to get onto the wooden pillar, that's what you need to use to get to the jail cells, Norman. I'm just going to point it out now, I'll point it out later. You can use that as a ramp as well, though I've never succeeded to do so when you're going really fast. But this is kind of the backdoor entrance to this area. This is the area which is entirely focused on platforming and puzzles, with a bit of combat thrown in for good measure, when we get there. This area is... yeah, I came here when I first played, I did this area, I kind of walked around here for a bit and thought, I'm not doing this. And left immediately. I think I spent like 40 minutes dicking about in this map before really committing to an actual way to go. Much to the sheer irritation of everybody around me. Look at that big boy. Nice cubby hole here. An orb switch. Quite an easy one to find. Just taking up the trash here, as one does. And here's another secret path. This is just a run up the ramp and just circle jump around tidily with a ramp jump, but I kind of fucked it up a few times. There we go, make it across. This switch then reveals the next part of the secret, which is through this rather cool looking runic ventilation shaft. End up on this vantage point up here, and this switch here opens up a hidden area which I don't go to for another like 10 minutes or so. But you don't need to use that switch to get to that hidden area. You can rocket jump or grenade jump up there, but that's the intended way, the true blue way of doing it. And that just leads down to the entrance hall, back to the central sort of area. So we've worked from the back door to the front. And, really hard to find because it's so dark, there's another secret here. And if you manage to stay on this beam and don't get yourself bullied off by an ogre grenade, you get rewarded with a really cool berserk, which I don't utilise very well at all. I feel that maybe I should do that secret later and really take advantage of the power of the berserk. There's a lot you could do here to speed this section of the map up. I will try and run through some of them later on. So, what I'm doing here is I'm going to deliberately set this up to fall. This is a sort of puzzle where each platform comes out to a different degree and for a different timing. So, I'm just getting one out to spawn in some monsters, kill them, then I'll actually do the platforming section. Everything in this map with platforming ends up with you falling in that lower area if you get it wrong. Or being teleported to that lower area if you get it wrong. So, if you're not very good at platforming, expect to see a lot of it. I know I did. Now, a cool thing is that if you keep fucking up the platforming, the map takes pity on you, and it opens up shortcuts that lead to progressively deeper and deeper into the section of the map until you get to the end. So it's not like it's going to be a hard gate because you can't do this for example. It will always let you succeed. Kind of a belt and braces approach. It's also worth mentioning that the platforming and the gauntlet stuff, like the gauntlet that I had with the thing pushing me forward and everything else, they're all different based on the skill level, so they're not quite as hard. There's more things to jump on, or maybe even just a path to walk and stuff like that. It's not quite as horrific as it is on Nightmare. So as I say, belt and braces approach to difficulty for puzzles and platforming. Unfortunately, in the Water Temple, one of our Oracle switches tells us to get the orb switch, number 11, you need to fall down into that pit and fail the jumping puzzles 15 times. And as far as I know, there is no way of getting around this. You have to do it. So, the next few minutes are going to me jumping into this pit 15 times. Now, each time unlocks a different shortcut, which I'm going to completely ignore. But it also gives you more monsters to fight, so swings and roundabouts, it keeps me busy. But it's kind of piecemeal monster fighting here. It's not the most exciting thing in the world to watch. Now, theory crafting. How could we do this better if we were speedrunners? One thing to do would be to be able to rocket jump back and forth over the trigger that causes this counter to go up over and over again. But obviously, how do you do that without taking too much damage? Well, I suppose you could pick up one of those pentagrams of protection. Maybe the one that I picked up at the start of the map, where I used the shorter wind tunnel ramp jump to get up to one of those top balconies above me just now. You could then run into here and then rocket jump up and down maybe 7 or 8 times before your pendulum's out. That would maybe work. I don't know. Maybe there's a better way of doing this. Maybe you don't have to do this at all. Maybe I've got egg on my face. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Right, Corin, you're a fucking idiot. I won't mind. Whatever extends people's knowledge of these maps is more important than my ego. Anyway, so we are moving on. And we're falling down again and again and again. I apologise, any stilted pauses that you hear in the commentary, it's me trying not to gnaw my own foot off, and it's actually me trying not to cough horrendously. There may be a few here because my throat's getting a little scratchy. So, up we go again. We just got to drop down another, 9 times? The little chiding descriptions of text are quite funny. Some of them mocking in a playful way, some of them encouraging. Keeps you entertained. It keeps you doing it as well, it's a thing, because that acts as a passive incentive even if you don't know there's something there. Like, if it keeps giving me new messages each time I fall, what does that really mean? Why is it doing that? When's it going to run out? So it's another incentive to keep doing it if you've got the kind of brain that I do, where it's like, how does this work? Ah, now this is a bug, which I thought was fixed in version 1.1. I need to report this post-haste. Usually when stuff teleports on top of you, they get telefragged, but in Dwell, sometimes you get stuck inside their hull. And that could have killed me very easily, with the Shambler clawing at his own chest. Not fun, really not fun for that to happen. Very rare though. But something worth keeping an eye out for. See, learning you won't need the shortcuts. Well, my intention here is to do all of the jumping stuff in one go anyway, just because I'm going to show it off. I could just take the shortcuts to the end, but I need to make sure I kill the monsters, 1, and 2, I want to show all this stuff off, because it's no fun when people just skip integral parts of map progression and not explain how they work. There's a time and a place for that with speedrunning and stuff, but sometimes I think there's also space in the market for, you know, like a shooting game super play kind of a thing, like, you know, they're playing for score, and playing for score in that situation means maximising opportunities and playing well, as opposed to bending the game around your finger and maybe breaking the rules a little bit, and, you know, it's the sort of thing I like. Not every speedrun should be going out of bounds. What are we up to now? 13. It's not as long as I thought it was, honestly. It feels like when you're doing this, like, actually doing it, it feels like it's taking forever. But I think it's only 5 minutes of my time, really, so it could be worse. It really could be worse. Thankfully, the walk is very, very short to get back up. So let's see what happens now. One more time. And you'll notice there's an area I haven't been to there. You'll find out why in a minute. Very exciting, I know. Finally get to see a change of scenery here. Man, I love the texture work in this level, it's so cool. I love the transitions between the different texture sets. Some random door opened, here you go. Really helps sell the idea that you're going deeper and deeper. That which is built, that's newer built, that's kind of older built on this foundation, deep below. So there you go. That's the other orb. That teleport takes you right to the very end of all of this area, basically. I don't want to use that, because I want to keep doing it. I want to actually show you it all. I should have said that. I want to keep doing what. Here's one more secret, which I didn't take earlier. Ignore that bully. Discoloured wall, hit it with an axe, suicide bomber to catch you off guard, and a haste. Maybe I could have utilised that haste a bit better, but I'm happy. So, we're almost ready to progress. There's one secret that I hadn't gone to yet. The hidden path that I talked about before, where I hit the switch when I was first in this area, moving around before I got to the whole dropping down bit. That is a very cool thing to do. It's good to save it, because it gives you a red armor at the end. And honestly, you might want that. So here's how you get around it. The pillars that let you get to here, and the gate that lets you progress further, are blocked unless you press the button. So even if you offer to jump up here, I tell a lie earlier, there's nothing you can do. That is pretty much a situation that cries out for an immediate rail solution, which I don't do, but it cries out for one. Really, really, really mean suicide bomber bully there. Really mean. And what's this? That's right, it's an Om rune. And a reference to call to arms, the English word from Dabbler 2? Dabbler 2. I was always more of a Enigma plate kind of guy, because teleporting is fun. Breath of the Dying was also good, but hey, call to arms pretty good. Heart of the Oak too. I could start listing off the rune words I remember now, shouldn't I? Nice early ones like stealth and silence and all those. The 111 rune words. Anyway. Clearing this little cave out here. This lets you drop onto the platform that there's a bunch of ogres on before. Red armor, which I don't pick up for some reason. And the little ambush here with suicide bombing men, who all filter out so politely one at a time for some reason. which is cute. And still haven't realised I haven't picked the arm up here. Ah! Oh wait, hold on. Is he going? No, no, he's not. He's he's off. And we go back. Okay, now we're getting into the meat of things. This is the actual platforming and puzzle section. So we did one part of it already, so I used the teleporter to get past that one part of it. No big deal. This bit is brutally difficult if you don't know what you're doing. Nail traps start shooting behind. These platforms go. You can just go across two at a time, basically. If you stand in the middle, though, and try and platform in the middle, the nail's going to knock you off the platform and fuck up your jumping. Just step to the side. That's all you've got to do. But it's high damage, it's flustering. I really messed it up when I first played it. Multiple times, I don't think I ever got it right. So, you know. Yikes. And this section here, I called this pipe cleaners. I don't know why I called it pipe cleaners. I just did. And it's what my text document with all my secrets that I use as a checklist when I was playing the map is called. Pipe cleaners. Anyway, so idea here, you've got to press all of these buttons. These buttons as well cause one section of the platform to lower and one to rise. So it's kind of a puzzle. You've got to build your path across. And doing this without falling down on harder difficulties, I think it's a bit easier maybe than the other ones, I don't know. But this was tricky. This was tricky to figure out. But I did quite quickly come up with a solution that's okay. I don't know if it's the correct solution, but it's a solution. So here we are, we press this one here. Press this one here. We're getting as many presses as possible on our way back. I just don't want to strand myself, basically. And I'm trying to do this in a very specific order because these buttons, and as you press them, it also controls another puzzle later on, some pillars that raise and fall. So it basically acts to randomise the puzzle whenever you go to see it, like a pseudo-randomizer, which is kind of cool. But, here we go. This is my order for doing things. I've got two left now, one at the far end, one in the middle down below. So I go to my far end one. So cautiously because I don't want to fall and embarrass myself. I drop down. I press this button. Why do I do this? You'll find out. I drop down again. I press this button. Oh, exciting. He's back up and now I have access to this switch down here, and I've also got a beam going across because I'm going to need to come back the way I came, unfortunately. So you can do this successfully and strand yourself at one end and then have to do all the platforming again. Didn't want to do that. Did not want to do that, no sir. But the way I've done it here, I've set it up so I can press this, and it lowers a path for me to go all the way back to the jump pad again. Cool puzzle, kind of hard. Bit of trial and error, patience required. I died here. This is the furthest into the map I've been where I've died in an unceremonious and embarrassing way when we're trying to record a demo. So this is quite a mean little trap here. Let's see what happens. So we go down here. Yeah. That's effective. The limited movement, the L-shaped thing. Loads and loads and loads and loads. On co-op submissions, there's loads of these Death Knights. Get a good rail on them, no problem. Red floor, danger. Nails come out. Don't touch the red floor. Kind of should be obvious. If that doesn't look dangerous to you, I don't want to go camping with you or build a fire with you. This is where the ogres were all sniping from. Those ogres, if you don't kill them in that window like I did earlier, I forgot to mention it, they can knock you off the ledges really easily, so it's best just to get rid of them immediately. They're bastards. And here we are, pillars. This is secret number 50, believe it or not. We've gotten that far. And these pillars, you need to make a path to go upstairs. And there's a bunch of buttons in the water which control one pillar to raise one pillar and lower another. So you've got to find the right combination of button presses to make a usable path. But luckily for me, by pure serendipity, I've got it in a state now where I can get to the top Because when there's a gap where the one pillar's lowered, if you do a circle jump, you can make it to the higher level platform without any issue. So you don't need to have them all raised, though I'm sure there will probably be a logical solution that does have them all raised if that's your jam, or if your jumping is a bit shit. So here you go, look at this. Oh, it's spectacular, isn't it? Oh, he's spectacular. And then you get reward at the top with this suicide bombs at either side and the load of stuff in the U-shaped thing. But it's fine. Don't panic, push yourself into one part of the U. And even if you do leave suicide bombers alive at the other time, the kamikazes, they can't do anything to you. And then up here you just get loads of ammo and an opportunity to rail the hell out of stuff. Though I'm high on the hog on ammo right now, partly because co-op mode is quite generous with ammo, and partly just because you'll be fine probably. And what do you get in here? Even more, that's right, even more LG. I think it would be interesting to try this map, doing the platforming bit first. I want to know what the ammo balance situation is like when you go into it fresh. But that's for another day. Maybe on my next stream playthrough when I play all this, whatever that may be. So, now we can continue down the road to our next puzzly platforming section. This room's a little bit ugly. That wall, it sells the point quite nicely, but it's kind of got that nice jank kind of look to it, which I appreciate. So, maze here. You've touched that wood, that wall comes and crushes you, and or knocks you into the pit. Only a real complete moron, once they figure that out, would do that though. I mean, look at the actual pressure in terms of enemies that spawn in. Nothing that really pushes you about. You can just stand still and kill them, right? So all you got to do is just walk to the exit. What kind of complete fool would mess this up and fall in the pit? Yeah, the pit really hurts as well. So I could have rocket jumped out here, I believe. I just didn't because I didn't think to. I really didn't want to fall here. It's wastes a minute, and it's embarrassing. It makes me look like I suck. But, yeah, there you go. It happens. Like I say, the best laid plans. But it lets me show off. Look at all these teleporters. Look at that. We're back where we were. Our noob teleporters got us back to where we want to go perfectly. So now I walk again, and this time I'm on edge because I'm scared I'm going to do it a second time. Because once you make one stupid mistake, it makes your brain go into tilt mode and you think, oh man, am I going to do it again? But this time, no worries. And that's a really, really good fiend. That fiend is, if you're not expecting it, brutal, because obviously the trap lowers, etc. Though, if you come out quickly, you can go to the secret area. Which is secret. Which secret is this? I wonder, I'm curious now. I think this is 52. More bully kamikazes, because, you know, at this point you should just be expecting them. No pity if you get hurt in this room, basically. And is this 53? I think this is 53. An LG, and a nice overlook to kill these guys down here. I'm not really sure what I'm doing here, to be honest with you. That was my attempt to kill him with spawns with some tricky grenade work. Didn't really work, I think. So this area here, it's a grid of platforms. Let's see if I go up and you can see it. Yeah, grid of platforms to cross. Most of them are fake and blow up if you try and stand on them. Then you fall to the bottom, and it's embarrassing. The order is 4, 5, 3, 2, 4, I believe, because that's kind of a logical one. But how do you know which platforms are real and which platforms are fake? I hear you asking. Well, we'll find out shortly. But obviously they're trapped, because of course they are. Co-op adds an extra nova just to make it spicier. It's best just to head back the way you came. Pushing forward, not a good idea. Plus, we have some secrets to attend though. Yeah, as you can see there, filtered through the window, the fake platforms have big red stuff on the underside. The truth path does not. So you can observe from down here if you do the combat, pay the combat toll, and figure out exactly where to go, and then do it. And that's our final orb switch, our final barrier for the somewhat lackluster reward for collecting all the orbs. No, and beyond the satisfaction, of course, which is the ultimate reward. And here we go. Oh, this is really worth mentioning. If you're dumb and you let that fiend go down there, he will spawn down in the noob water and you could go collect him. That does waste time. It's best just to make sure he dies quickly. Illusory wall, the last secret on this path. Super nail gun. Ammo, everything you could possibly want. Right down the hog. And this is cool, I like this. So, it's like a cauldron here, but the thing is, eventually they're going to breach containment because there's too many of them. So the best way to deal with this fight is to stand as far back as possible and not wake up the other shamblers, pull one off of them, and get some sick rails. Which, they're not so sick in this one, I'll be honest with you, not so sick, but hey, relatively sick rails. And if we do that, floodgate opens. One last nasty fight. This fight, when you're fully stacked out, isn't so bad, but you can still get yourself cornered quite easily, which I almost do here. Just run to the quad, basically. Lower level is an armour, but when you're on a lower level, you're going to get spammed down by grenades, something awful. This is a nice, straightforward gauntlet. The far end here, a bunch of daddy brutes just doing their thing. Silver key accessible. And that is the end of Wing 3, the puzzles and platforming wing. When I get there eventually. So, we're almost at the end of the map. We can open our silver key door and leave. Well, I say this, but we still haven't actually got the key yet. I'll say when we got the key, I'll say that. How does that feel? Pick that arm up, why not? Right! And the key. So, where do we go now? We could just leave, but no, we've got some more secrets to pick up. Let's go back to our runway area. There are 3 more secrets corresponding to these. That's a construct. It's only in co-op mode in that room in this map, but they feature quite heavily in the other maps of episode 2. They basically shoot rockets at you and suicide rush you when you do enough damage to them. Scary enemy. So why am I doing this? Well, it's because the secret I'm going to go to now, you're supposed to use that jump behind me to go round and jump off the big green rock on the left hand side. Or you can jump off the main ramp and rocket jump and air control your way around. But I couldn't do that to save my life, I just went past it there. So what I did is I came up with a solution here, which is use the quad and the... what's it called? And the pentagram just to jump up. You can align yourself and get up there easily. It's tricky just to jump into naturally because there's a lip that you'll hit and you'll lose your forward momentum. But that seems to work. And look, we're in the cells. Did you get it? Now, does this waste time? Yes. Could that quad and that pent be used for the final encounter? Yes. Do I care though? Not really, because look what I'm doing now. I'm just collecting all of the resources. I don't need to do this, I'm just showing what's behind each lovely door. Previously gated. I'm collecting all this crap, basically, that has accumulated in my absence. And this is the 12 orb room. You get all 12 orbs, you get to come in here. And this is the reward. Kinda lackluster, to be honest with you. I kinda wish there was something a bit more Easter eggy. Beyond just a stash, you know? Anything at all, even if it's just like a funny little message or something, a statue. But it's okay. The journey is the most important thing with all this kind of stuff. And actually finding all the switches and doing the adventure stuff is great. So there you go. And you get a little fight to end it all up with as well. But yeah, I'm pretty heavily stacked. 224, 203, or whatever it was there. But let's get even more stacked there, 250, 224. Something tells me I'm not going to have any issues with the final fight, no matter what they throw at me. And honestly, it's not too difficult as far as final fights go. But before we go, this is the room where you can find out where the orb switches are. Those little walls are decorated with orbs. The ones where you found them, the switch vanishes, but if you haven't found the switch yet, you can press a button there and it'll tell you a little hint. Very nice feature. I just wish it was more signposted and like in your face as to go down there, because really, for me, my eyes are drawn to these big sections here, these big wings, as opposed to going down to a well. So here we go. End of the map time. You can do this progressively, you don't have to press all the buttons at once. I only press all the buttons at once because it's a little, faster, but you can do this after you've collected a key. It gives you resources for doing so, so it's actually probably worth doing. It's a good way of getting ammo. But I'm doing it all at once. The world is quaking as that giant door opens. I wish we were watching it open, because it's cool to watch giant doors open, but hey, what can you do? Lots of opportunities here for getting sick rails, which I've kind of neglected. Just to spam rockets, because my brain isn't really fully qualified yet. If I spend enough time on Dwell, I'll definitely get into the swing of using this railgun way more efficiently. And here we are, we've got all the secrets. Here are the last monsters. I really like the fact that it's like a little legion of guys. I kind of wish it was something a bit more intense than just a legion of knights, but I think it's visually quite cute that they're all waiting there, ready to invade. Or defend, however you want to see it. Was it an incursion, or were they stopping you from leaving? Who knows? And this here is a nice setup for getting some good rail shots. It's only 3 shamblers on Nightmare difficulty when I co-op, and they're much easier to line up. But what can you do? Unknown depths away, and there it is. Not the best time, not the worst time. Pretty substantial map there from Mazu. A really cool penultimate map before the sublime boss. Fantastic. Abyss of the Troglodytes. I would recommend, if you haven't and you're watching this, download Dwell. What are you waiting for? Get it. Slips here. Download Dwell right now. Load it up. It's just great. Best episodes for Quake there ever were. Ever was. Go get it. Also check out more Mazu maps. Check out Smay 2. Check out the Quake Brutalism Jam. Play Forbidden Brutal Religion. If you like wind tunnel jumping in particular, like the stuff that I was doing with the ramps there, Forbidden Brutal Religion has a room which is all that stuff. It's so cool. That's it. So, thank you very much. Goodbye.